do is the stiffer rods allows me to place the bait in specific targets a little bit better than a more parabolic rod. This rod's still parabolic, but it's definitely a little stiffer than your traditional cranking rod. Also, as far as my line, I'm probably a little bit non-traditional. I like to use 15-pound test fluorocarbon when I'm using square bill. I'm usually banging the lure into whatever we're fishing, whatever the structure is. If it's rocks, I'm banging it. I'm contacting the structure. If it's laydowns, I'm really getting in there, putting the bait where they normally wouldn't see a crankbait. So it's sort of four-wheel drive of crankbait fishing, if it's, so to say. So I'll use a 15-pound. Sometimes I will use 12-pound test, but I usually start at 15-pound test.
All right, let this baby go. That's probably a 7 or 8 pounder.
As far as the reels concerned, it depends on the day and the time of the year. Sometimes I'll use a 7-1-1 if I'm really trying to cover a lot of water. A lot of times in practice, I just like to cover a lot of water with the square bill, so I'll use a 7-1-1. But typically, you want to use a reel that's a little bit slower, 5-3-1. What that does is let the bait get down, and a lot of times with the square bill, if you reel it too fast, it'll have a tendency to lose its track, and it'll kind of come out of the water if you're reeling it too fast. So that 5-3-1 will let you come through the structure, and also if you're not reeling it too fast, it comes through better. So if you're just burning it through a laydown or burning it down some rock, it'll have a tendency to dig into the rock or dig into the laydown. But if you just crawl the bait, it'll just come over the structure a lot better. So the 5-3-1 also helps you not hang up. The Echo 175 is just a really unique square bill crankbait. Displaces a lot of water, has a really aggressive lick to it, so it's important that you slow down and let the bait do the work. When you're throwing it, I like to just use a steady retrieve, let the bait dig into the rocks, let it dig into the bottom, let it bump up against the structure, or whatever you're fishing. Just take your time and use a steady retrieve. It's a small bait that has a big presence in the water. An important fact to remember with the Echo 175 is that it responds really well to rod tip action. So you can lower your rod tip towards the water, get an extra foot or two out of it on a cast. You can also raise your rod tip and almost make it a waking bait. So just experiment with your rod tip and you'll get a lot more out of the crankbait. Keep in mind when you're retrieving the bait that your speed is not only affecting the speed of the bait and the action, but it's also affecting the sound. The faster that you're reeling the bait, the more you're engaging the high frequency rattles in the bait. The more you slow down, the more you're engaging the buckshot, so you have more of a knocker sound. Keep that in mind when you're fishing it.